Good afternoon. This is May 9th at 8:45 p.m. This is me, the Grand Duchess Rasmus Coonan, also known as Ryan Tomlinson. Weekend commentaries. Yes, May, this is May, the month of spring, the month of woman, the month of everything glorious and flowering and budding and so forth. Newness to life, newness in family. Let's try to create that, can we? Must we burden ourselves with years of petulance and mistake? Wake up today and wake up tomorrow and change something with a simple solution. Wash your hands clean of it. Give it what you must if you can pay it back, and walk away free with a sleepless night. It's not worth it, Americans. We are people of ingenuity. We are people of vibrance and people who can create. When have we become a nation of dependency? A nation of dependency. We are a caffeine society, not cafe. Cafe society, darling, is a society that hangs out, that's socialized to its greatest extent, knows its neighbors, look out for its neighbors, and implement changes to save its neighbors' disposition. Caffeine society, as we have a lot, and darling, coffee, I do not knock it, but it's so coffee-dophine society is where we have an overproduction of everything else, and a pretentiousness of what we want, and a selfishness of how it is attained and how we get it, with no respect to the influences of human being, the human condition, or even the compassion that lends itself to. This week I lend myself to the week I am really strongly against Syria and the Middle East, and our policy towards it. It has been a mistaken policy. It is a policy that should be abandoned. Colin Powell and George Bush's petulance. I really believe this in a time, America, we are getting paranoid about our own safety and security, right? And so we live in that fear. We live in, as I said, the fear of our children coming back from war and being killers themselves. We live in the fear of having handicapped children and mentally ill children damaged by war. Not that we do not love them, but when you send a fully grown human and you lend it to the service of your country, you still have that expectation that a fully helpful and responsible person will come home to you, devoid of a lot of things, devoid of the stigma and the burden of war. And we are living that. I don't know if Barack Obama realized, and I've said over and over, he has a Lincoln-esque presidency. He is supposed to be the liberator, not the same stigmatic war. I've said it from the first 4 years. I was so happy this gentleman got elected. I remember the stigma of racism around his election campaign. I remember being at war myself, and the stigma of war myself, and people saying, oh, it was a black against white. This was within the Democratic Party itself, and they were saying, well, he's a black man, and I certainly did not put into it. I remember there were so many derogatory things written about this black man being elected president, about him, he's a black ass, and it was so derogatory, and we were all Democrats. Now that he's elected, I had hoped that he would be the liberator of war, the precedence of the civility, of unity in the world again. Much to these policies are not considered. I still don't. The Schwarzkopf, Colin Powell, State Department, foreign policy thing, and I do not admire it. And then John Kerry, he carries on in Hillary Clinton's shoes, and rightly so. I don't know whose plan. Who was she being advised by? Condoleezza and them? Who knows? But there needs to be a revamp of this foreign policy and communication. We need it. I support Assad because of the misintelligence, the misguidedness of the allies of the United States. And henceforth, I write today, the envy of some human is the loathing sloth of someone else's imperfection. Fantastic. Most of us are misguided when they heal. Heal not for others, but for the bearer of the seal. And the bearer of the seal being an example. our terms today, he was paled by Paul and panned by Peter, his closest love. Side of said stated the day, the sun heightened in its light, don't lay in the paranoia of others, people's fears. And that is exactly what we're doing in this precedence, this State Department-like thing there, this paranoia of terrorists and Al-Qaeda, something that we ourselves perpetuated and created. It's the same old story, and resurrected and implemented in the flowering of wheat, rested on laurels, not on his fate, but by the words of the Lamb. Abraham Lincoln resurrected and implemented this, the essence of the Constitution. Abraham Lincoln refused. Abraham Lincoln image, which I hoped that Barack Obama would assume, is now like an Assad as that image. We are looking for new Americans. We are fighting in obscurity. Abraham Lincoln refused historic. He used historic and rhetoric, the same old story, and rested on his laurels, not on his fate, and absconded the persecuted to far distant lands. Excuse me, something wrong. Abraham Lincoln refused, used historic and rhetoric, the same old story, which the same old story was the fighting, the racism, whatever it is, and rested on laurels, which is the Constitution, not on his face, of ones that absconded the persecuted to far distant lands. All those people that came to America because of religion, or whatever, and founded the great colonial states of America. But by the words of the land, cultivated the significance of all colors, creed that can on hand. And here I put the picture of Atticus, Crispus Atticus, the first African American to die in the American Revolution against the English. This is Barack Obama's downfall of American and the American military. They need to end this in Syria and start focusing on America. We need to do that. Maybe we should all have a series, Focus on America. Focus on the internal. What is it that we need to fix? What is it that we can do? Can they see the idol of what once was, what is and will be a cycle, where the created place where the cratered place, greeted of every conquerors, by every conquering sea, still fight for life and peace. There are the vivacious new Americans. They fight to stay alive and old liberty. We are. I am afraid that we are becoming old liberty, and others are becoming the new Americans. The new fight for something newness, not for probably not for the type of democracy that we are used to, right? For something new and something vibrant. The new Americans may be the Middle Eastern, and where are we? Right? They fight to stay alive, and old liberty. We are. She lives in the tradition of her colonialism empire, and that's okay. A monarchy is okay, but we formulated this democracy. George III allowed it for a reason. Let's begin to live it again. Now I'm going to give you the picturesque of what I started. Here we go. You can catch me at LiveJournal, and you can catch it at Facebook. You can see it very well. The train, Atticus Finch, and the war in the Middle East, Assad. It's time Barack Obama made peace with this gentleman. And me, most of all, me's the Grand Duchess Rasmus Koenen. Flowers and feathers, girls. It's Thursday. I love it. It's a good day. Always speak your mind. I speak for liberty and treatment, and for a true and new vivacious America, in spite of my grievance with the army. One day, darling, after I've rested, maybe we can talk. Have a great night. Thursday. Love you.